Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and 10 Types.
Yep. Hello, everyone. And Uncommon Fossil, you want to actually say what we're doing today? Because I feel like it pertains to you a little bit.
Me, okay, sure. We're taking a look, we're making a tier list today of based of from Limitless. They're quote competitive cards. They're uncommon, so I guess that's the tie into Uncommon Fossil. They're not rares or commons, but uncommons. They're final evolutions, and they're not going to be cards that relied on Zoroark, I believe. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. So I'll say the criteria a little more. So as you said, from the Limitless website, there's a thing that just says if it's quote competitive or if it's in their database of international events. It's just kind of weird. It's kind of just it's not a random set of events, but it's not all the events, but it includes the internationals, world championship, regionals, and different things. So it has a bunch of data, and these are the cards that appear in the database. As you
Hmm.
said, it's only final evolutions. So I'm taking a look at what we got here. We got like Ursaring, like who's caring about that? I did lop off Curlia. Curlia, admittedly, is good. However,
Yes.
it mostly just sees play in Gardevoir, right? That's by far its main deck.
Yeah, I mean, prior to rotation with level ball, it might have had some value, but now, right, it's really Gardevoir only.
Yeah, and then we got Pokemon like Donphan, Camerupt, um, Wug Trio, which just saw play in Zoroark. That's a deck that rotated, so that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about. And then I did remove Screamtail, the one played in Ancient Box. It doesn't really do anything. And also Metagross. Metagross is a final evolution, but it's played for its previous evolution, Metang, so it doesn't make a ton of sense here. And then yeah, there are definitely some Pokemon that aren't super good, but are kind of interesting. We'll see. The list it's interesting. I think. I don't know if that's good interesting or bad interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, we want to get a list that, yeah, we think is interesting for us and interesting for people as well. Because, like, if we took a look at stage twos in competitive play, we could talk about, like, we could talk stage two EXs, and but then we're just talking about the top tier decks, right? That's not, I don't think, very interesting from our perspective. It's around a lot. So, the uncommons they're kind of the cards that don't get so much attention, which makes them interesting. In terms of the competitive play, I think it's IRL only, right? It's not related at all to the online tournaments. That's a whole separate tracking system.
Um, Mostly for this it is.
Yeah,
The online website was or the Play.Limitless database was created after Limitless, so there are actually some tournaments before the creation of the online tournament database that were still online that were listed here in this database, but not for these cards. I don't believe.
okay, this is strictly IRL. The time we're recording and it's going to be uploaded is going to be about a week before Shrouded Fable comes out. So, one of the questions is, are we talking? Probably primarily talking about right now with Twilight Masquerade, but I assume we need to take into account Shrouded Fable because it's coming out so soon.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think about it so much, but
There's
I
at
guess
least
it does matter.
one card that I know it matters. You know the new
Uh,
cards better than I do. So,
yeah, no, there are a few cards I'm looking at that it will matter some. So just wondering, what is that card that you think matters?
it has an attack that's getting a new partner.
Oh, that one.
So
I wasn't even thinking of that one. Yeah, that one's definitely getting better. But there are a number of other ones as well that are having some interesting changes. But you said you had some order before we started recording. And where do you want to start here?
yeah, so starting generally speaking, oldest to newest. That's what I've done. There's complications with that because how Limitless lists things out. So it's not going to be entirely, but we're starting with Slowbro, so you can call it up, which is I think a good Pokemon. It now one of the complications is you say it's not Zoroark partners, but this was very good in Zoroark. Um,
Yeah, there was.
so the second attack, particularly for two colorless energies, Twilight Inspiration, you can use this attack only if your opponent has exactly one prize card remaining. Take two prizes, and that was to me one of the a common way to win the Zoroark. You would get behind by one prize, and that was fine. You just stay behind the one prize and leapfrog them at the end.
Yeah, and this can be played in a lot of single prize decks as well. I'd say in more like casual decks, but it's really powerful for leapfrogging your opponent really at any time, except for the fact that Iron Hands EX exists and also there are a bunch of spread decks, but you do have
Hmm.
Manaphy and you have a Rabsca and stuff. So,
Right.
where do you think? Oh, do you want to talk about the criteria as well?
Yeah. So criteria, it obviously we're partly competitive, but also I think it's not non-competitive, just general deck building, I would say. And it's going to be awkward because the Zoroark factor still kind of, I think there's a number of cards that to me, I look at it and I'm like, I think that's really was a Zoroark partner, and I'm not sure the value now. So we'll kind of have to wade through that. Like Slowbro, and a lot of these cards, as we get to it, I think some of them are going to be control style decks, or they're very niche cards in decks. I would say in
Yeah.
a number of cases. So how do we rank that if it's only, you know, like you did a video recently about the top win rate cards on the online tournaments, and a lot of those were control based cards. I don't think we want just control cards dominating this. It's not the world we want to live in. And I don't think I want to see all just like niche cards near the top either. So it's going to get a little tricky, I think, how we value things.
Yeah, but I think Slowbro is somewhere in the middle. It's like it's solid or upper middle.
Yeah, and
Um,
like with a slow king deck, you can play it in that, right? Because so that's
wait,
probably,
what was looking at EX?
yeah, because it also
But no one plays that. You're
oh,
the only person who plays.
yeah, I play it, so that's my basis of criteria, right? Um, I mean, what decks are playing it right now? You power it up with a double turbo, that's good, but you still have to evolve from the basic, right? So,
You know,
um,
I'd say it's actually probably like C tier. I could see it in B tier. Like compared to these cards, it's probably gonna be better than a bunch, but also like compared to regular like meta cards, it's not that good. It's not bad though. It certainly has a lot of value.
yeah, I mean, it's if Zoroark was around, it's B, probably a high
Well, yeah,
B.
Bazorg's not
I
around,
know, so I
so
think it's C tier. That's where I'm inclined to
yeah,
put it.
okay, that's good.
All right, so the next Pokemon we have here is Lunatone.
Yeah,
Everybody's back. If you were back playing back on PTCGO whenever this card first came out, like half the decks for like probably a couple of weeks was Lunatone Solrock decks. We'll talk Lunatone and Solrock. Do you want to talk about both of them now and kind of rate them together, by the way, or not?
yeah, I feel like. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone play. Oh no, that's not true. I have seen people play them separately. There was I think another Lunatone. That I guess it's like so there are uncommon cards that just aren't here. Like the other Lunatone, it's uncommon, but it's not here because like no one's playing this competitively. But it
Right.
prevents effects of stadiums. Oh, that was mostly used for a path counter. I mean, I haven't seen Lunatone Solrock since rotation. Um,
Right. I mean,
so
you're right. The other
last year,
Lunatone,
like the like 2 rotations ago, or yeah, it's been so long since I've seen this deck.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
well,
but this is this current starter deck? No, it was a previous starter deck, I think.
I think it was the last year's starter deck. It lost. Well, obviously, when Scoop Up Net rotated, that was a big blow, and Fog Crystal losing that, right? That
Yeah,
was a
and
major
also
blow.
what's it? Rescue Carrier or whatever. It's lost a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
cards.
All right. So getting over the cards though. So they're both 90 HP. Pokemon Lunatone is the attacker in the deck. It's got for one psychic energy cycle draw, discard a card from hand, draw 3 cards. So if you went first, that often you might do that your first turn if you couldn't attack for damage. Which is fine, but then Moon Kinesis for 3 colors energies, and they want to all be psychic because it does 30 damage plus 30 more for each psychic energy attached to this Pokemon. So you toss on a lot of psychic energy, could get big damage. And you did that with the Soul Rock that was part of the same set. It had the Sun Energy ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a psychic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Lunatones. So you're kind of getting 4 energies on your Lunatone easily each turn if you have, or 5, right? Potentially, if you have a full bench of Soul Rocks and you can attach one from hand and you had the 5 energies, you could, in theory, stream 5, uh, which gets you 6 times 3, 180 damage on a single prize. It's not bad. With scoop up net and stuff, you could even do more, but that was lost to rotation. So it's and also we lost level ball too, which is a big blow to these 90 HP basics as well. Um,
Yeah. Oh, I will say these are all standard cards, but as we've been saying, it's not like played now really much.
right. So right now it's not very good, I would say. Is it like D tier at this point? You think it's C
Yeah, I think
tier?
it's D tier. I don't think it's C tier. I could see it. I don't. I guess it's not F tier. It's pretty bad, but there were definitely some worse Pokemon on here as well.
Yeah,
It's okay, I guess.
I mean, you could play it. You'll win some games, I think, is what I'd say.
Maybe. It's like it's even when it's working though, it's not that good. I suppose if your opponent like misses an attack and can't knock you out, then you're in a really good spot, but that's unlikely. I guess it's okay. So I think D tier.
I'm going to put it D tier, partly just because of the fond memories of it, so of what it used to be, and that's where things
On
get.
memories, yeah, yes. I don't know. It was all over the ladder. It was not
Oh, I didn't
fun.
like it at first, but I played it later on too when it was less common, and it was it was not a bad deck, and it did take some skill. When to use those scoop up nets versus not was an important thing. So saving those nets for the right turn, an important deal. So
I
I'm
guess. I feel like if you can like point out like one specific thing that's like takes skill, then that means that like everything else doesn't take skill, and I feel like that like isn't a sign of a high skill deck. But
it,
anyway, it's not played very much now, and it's
no,
like
yeah.
not so good against spread either or Iron Hands.
No, I mean it was a fun kind of meme deck, right? Is what it was. So
Yeah, at its best 2 years ago.
yes, correct. So it's fallen fast and hard. All right, the next Pokemon is Espathra, evolves from Flittle, which has just a ton of options to choose from. If you ever build a deck that has Flittle, I think I don't remember. It's like 7 or 8 Flittles or something. I,
Yeah, something like that.
I believe it's so. The Espathra here, stage one, 110 HP, psychic Pokemon. It's got 2 attacks. Eye strength does 20 for one energy, which I guess is here what it's here for mainly. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So you'd rather not do any damage if you're truly just decking out your opponent by making so they can't attack. But then it's got psychic for psychic colorless. Colorless, it does 30 plus 50 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now I mean, yes, you can pay it with a reversal energy. I imagine it saw play in Zoroark some.
No, this was in Gardevoir apparently.
Okay.
Wait, do you have it? I thought you had the cards pulled up.
Oh, I'm just looking at it blown up. Yeah, one person played it. I have Bayonet Gardevoir.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like I've
So
never seen anyone play this card.
so Bayonet is the item lock, right? Card.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes in that you're item locking, and then you're then being a disruptive deck, and I assume you're largely using the the stalled attack, right?
I
Getting
don't know.
something.
Well, but then I don't think so because there are better attacks though than that. I think so. It's played in this list that it's played in. It plays in Espathra EX.
Hmm.
Because you could just play Mawile, right, which is just kind of better. I think it's played for both attacks, but I think the second one has value, I guess. I don't know. I feel like this card's just not good. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean this is one that surprised me. This is one. Yeah, I think we'll toss this down at F tier. Is that what you think
Yeah,
about it?
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting, but I don't see it as it being very good, especially because the second attack doesn't seem great, is what I'll say. Because your opponent has to load up their Pokemon with a ton of energy, which they're usually not doing, right? Um,
Yeah, and then you can also use this Spath EX, which also ramps damage based on their energy. It ramps slower, but I don't know. This card seems not very good.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I guess it's just a very tech card in an Espathra deck, which is not the best deck around, even on a good day. Um,
Spath is okay.
yes,
I like it. I like it.
no, that's true. It's appealing. I would agree with that. The next Pokemon is another weird one, I will say, and on that I'm doing in this the Dunsparce, right? The colorless Pokemon evolves from Dunsparce. This is not the good Dunsparce that is the engine that you shuffle into the deck and draw 3 cards. This is the one with the 2 attacks that you just are, just like kind of foaming at the mouth to use in all the games you're playing, I imagine. So it's 140 HP, so that's nice and tanky. Retreat cost of 3, so that's ouch. But Mud Slap does 34 in energy, so all right, let's go. Colorless energy, so you can slap this in any deck you want, and there you go. And then
You
for
can
four,
mud slap it in any deck you want.
no wonder you got more subs on your channel coming up
Exactly. I'm
with the
like
way you work that.
so clever here.
You are the content creator. And then but wait, we have Dig Away Flash. So for 4 energies, it does 100 damage. And then your opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed, and you shuffle this Pokemon all attached cards into your deck. So I know you were working on a hit and run deck with item lock and
Well, that was you. That
yeah,
was
well,
well,
but
I
you
just
told me the
played
list
like
originally: item
I
lock
did.
and ability lock. But here you get paralysis, and you can then send up something and wall them off. So that's really tremendous, right? All you got to do is get 4 energies on this guy. Not a problem.
Yeah, no. So this was played in Lugia Archeops, where there was the Dunsparce that stopped weakness, which rotated. So,
Okay.
yeah, I feel like this card's just not very good, right? I feel like it's F tier. I think it's better than Spathra, but
Yeah, and again, this was played in one deck over the last several years, I would guess.
yeah,
Since
I
it's
have seen this. I have played against this. I've heard people talk about it. Unlike the Spathra, which I've literally never played against. But or as far as I can remember, I've never played against it. I definitely played against this to Dunsparce, but or I've seen it. Probably just seen it like discarded. But it's like it's not very good. 100 paralysis. It's like that's actually solid, but also
yeah.
like it's a niche tech. It's not like terrible. It's only a one card tech, and
Well, it's two
it has
cards. You need
situations.
the basic too, right?
But you
Lugia
play the but it already plays the basics. So
did the Lugia.
um well I get but it doesn't now. So
Well, Lugia
it's
did.
just the basic rotated. So
Oh, what was the basic? Oh, the other one. Right now you have the one for the draw. So you put it in as a tech if you did it now in with the Lugia to I mean with the Dunsparce to draw, and then you have this as an attacking option, but you can't power it up probably. So unless it's in Lugia. So I mean obviously it makes sense in Lugia, but yeah, it's not going to be very good. So but it's probably it's what better than Lunatone Soul Rock now because Lugia's a deck a very playable
no,
deck.
but this isn't played in Lugia now because I think it was only played in Lugia because it was just a one card tech. Now it's multiple cards as a multiple card tech. I mean, you do have the Dunsparce has free retreat, but
Right.
and you are able to like search out. I don't know. I feel like you're able to search out Pokemon like it's easier because you're running Cinccino, but um, yeah, I don't think this is a. I think it's pretty bad. I think Lutone Slovak is like okay.
Hmm.
I
It,
mean, Lugia is definitely a better deck than Lutone Slovak, but I don't think anyone's playing this.
all right. So where you want to put so is it you want it F tier or you want a D tier?
I think F tier.
You think it's F tier?
I mean, I don't think you think
Uh,
it's good.
all right. I mean, I'll put it top of F tier. Give it that honor.
Okay.
We don't have to have
Um,
the same
yeah,
exact list. Also,
yeah, I guess. So what do you have up next?
all right. Next we have Flamigo. So this is the one that I one of the ones that matters with the new set coming out. What's it called again? Shredded Fable.
Yep.
It's got I guess it's United Wings. I assume it was in United Wings decks that saw a little bit of play. So United Wings, which is like Mad Party or Night March, it does 20 damage for each Pokemon with the United Wings attack in your discard pile. This is for 2 colorless energy, which you can pay obviously for a double with a double turbo, but you're reducing your damage. But it is 110 HP, so it's probably the highest of the basic Pokemon for HP.
Yeah, no, it's higher. It's higher than the Dartrix as well, which is now yeah,
Okay.
I believe.
And so, and we are getting right. One of the problems is there are only 3 United Wings Pokemon. Now we're getting a fourth, so that's going to make it much. It's going to make it much better. I don't know that it's going to be as good as as United Wings. I mean, as Mad Party and Night March, just because of the meta and possibly, just HP growth and all that. So, but it's definitely going to. I'm looking forward to trying it out. So United Wings with the new partner. It's got, and the reason this one in particular, it's got the Instaflock ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 3 Flamigos, reveal them, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you'd play one down, ideally your first turn, get your hopefully your other 3 Flamigos are all in your deck, and you'd have Squawkabilly EX, and you'd discard 3 Flamigos. So that's 60 damage. You'd get in. You would add on turn one. So that it was an important piece. There are other Flamigos in the game, so potentially if they ever become viable, you could use this to help set those up. But I don't think they are really anything to get excited about at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Flamigo that like is a spread attacker. I think we
Hmm.
talked about in the past, but yeah. So this Pokemon, I feel like United Wings, especially with the next, I think it'll like get up to Mad Party levels of like play, where it's like a fringe top 10 at some point. I don't think it's gonna be Night March. I don't think it's gonna be like a clear top 5 deck,
Hmm.
uh, or anything. I mean, what do you think? I don't think you think United Wings is like great. It was
So,
gonna be great.
so Within United Wings, what types do we have? We have Darkness type right now, correct?
Yeah, darkness and lightning as the basics, and then you also have the
Lightning,
Dartrix, which is grass.
Grass. Okay, and there is the Lightning stage one that can hit the bench as
Oh
well
yeah.
for less damage, but hitting the bench is nice. So Grass, Lightning, Darkness is pretty good for weakness. That's where it has an advantage on Mad Party. Although, well, for a while the psychic attack mattered too, right? So, um, is it B tier? That I guess that's the question.
I
It
think it's
it's not A
yeah,
tier,
I think it's B tier.
and,
I
and
think B tier is fire.
you don't think it's higher than that, do you?
No, I could be C tier.
It could be like high C. I mean, I'd put it above Slowbro just because I think it's going to see more play.
Yeah, I think B tier is fine.
I mean, I don't know that it'll be as good as Mad Party. Mad Party was a marginally competitive deck for a while, right?
Yeah, I guess it was okay. I think United Wings will get to that level though. I feel like that's like fair. I don't think it's getting Nightmare's level or even that close to Nightmare's level, but I think it'll be close to Mad Party level. I think it'll actually be better than Mad. I mean, it has a lot of good things going for it. Its HP is higher at a noticeable level.
Right.
It's not like super high, but it's not like it's literally getting knocked out by everything. So, um, I mean, I guess like all the Pokemon get like knocked out by Cramorant, but it's not like your opponent attacks with Sableye and they take like 3 prizes. So, um, I think it's and you have like easier energy costs because it's not all too colorless, and
Right.
I think there's a lot of stuff going for United Wings that Mad Party didn't have, and so I think Flamigo and like the rest of the United Wings Pokemon are going to be solid, not great, but okay.
Yeah, and we do have, with Mad Party, sometimes played the Oricorio GX, and we have the new what? I'm blanking. What's the
Serendipity.
Pheasantipity? Yeah, Pheasantipity
Yeah,
EX that
I don't
does.
think Mad Party played Oricorio that much because it played like Jidane GX and Crobat V, so you like run out of bench space, but
That's true.
Um, or you wouldn't want to like play all the Pokemon, but yeah, I do think it might be playing Pheasantipity EX. Squawkbilly EX is really nice as well. So I think the
Yeah,
deck's going to be okay. You don't have Quick Ball, which is like a big loss, but
correct.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, but early Mad Party didn't have Ultra Ball, right?
But it
Certainly not
eventually
at
did. When it was
first.
good, I think it had it.
Did it when it? Okay. All right. So Flumig,
Maybe not. I'm trying to think exactly when it was good. But anyway, yeah. So what do we have up next?
and we have Bellabolt next. So everybody's favorite lightning Pokemon. I have
Oh,
this
we
is
talked about this one in our worst Pokemon episode.
and yet it's a competitive Pokemon. What was it played on, by the way? Like
It's
a
an
couple
It's a
Arceus
counter
decks.
Pokemon.
It's
Yeah.
a really weird one. So, and I was also wondering, yeah, okay. So Bellabolt, 140 HP, so nice and tanky. Retreat cost of 3. It's got an attack, Thunderous Edge, Lightning Colorless. Colorless does 100 damage and isn't affected by affection opponent's active Pokemon. So something that walls off single prize stage ones. Here is your answer if that's what you're playing, right? So I could put this in my Dojo deck in case they have something to wall me off. Boom, I can solve that problem. Um, but it's here for the insulator ability, I assume. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacking your opponent's lightning Pokemon. So, in a world where you're afraid of lightning Pokemon, you have this. I don't know. I guess they must have had the energy to attack with it. The attack's pretty underwhelming, though, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's like good against Mirai. Let me see. I'm pretty sure that they played one
They
lightning
played
energy.
one lightning, so yeah.
This is also in Duraludon VMAX
Uh,
Arceus V Star, so that's not in standard. But I feel like this card's okay. I think I've seen this card like in gameplay. Not much, but it's okay. I mean, it's very good against Miraidon.
mhm.
It will probably just. I'm trying to think what they have. I think it will just win you the game. Um, yeah, I mean they might have like certain like Zapdos or something, but like you should still be fine. So I feel like Billy Bolt is honestly I think it's C tier. I think
You
it's like
think
all right.
so?
It's a really good counter to Miraidon. It's probably the best counter to Miraidon. I don't know if it's the best counter. I mean there are decks that just like I don't think Miraidon's that good, but I know some people think it's really good. So I think
Yeah.
Belly Bolt it's like at the bottom of C tier.
Yeah, I mean, Miraidon also is often a basic deck, so you could roll with like the Noivern EX or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe D tier. I feel like you think D tier is more
I
fitting.
think so. I mean, look, it barely, this is where we're quote standard meta now, but obviously this was played with Arceus Duraludon, so and that was it. And obviously that Duraludon's rotated, so it's a different world. So I'd say, yeah. I mean, look, would you play it? Are you more likely to play this or Slowbro? I,
I don't know. I feel like I like Belly Bowl, but it's not that good. I think D tier is probably right. You're
I,
probably right. It's not that good.
okay. So next we have Altaria. I believe this is the only Altaria on this list. Um,
Yep.
So it 120 HP, Dragon type Pokemon. Two attacks. Glide does 30 for one. I assume that's not why it was here. But then Soothing Lullaby does 110 for water metal. Your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep during Pokemon checkup. Flip 2 coins instead of one. If either of them's tails, that Pokemon is still asleep. And I didn't look at the deck it was in. So again, it was in one deck. And it was in a Regidrago deck, which makes sense, right? So it can copy the attack, and it seems to me it's a bit of an emergency situation. Like if you're gonna, you're behind, and the only way you can win the game is to stop your opponent from doing things for a turn or two, you attack with this, which I don't
I mean,
love
I guess.
that.
I feel like this is probably gonna be one of the more controversial Pokemon on the tier list. I know some people love this card, and I don't love this card. I definitely think it's kind of bad. I mean, it works 75% of the time, right? So that's
Yeah,
pretty solid. And then there are a lot of times when Regidrago's like two-shotting stuff. So there are a lot. I feel like now it's kind of bad because one of your two-shotting attackers is gonna be like currently, right now, one of the two shiny attackers is a Dragapult, which 6 extra damage cash on the bench is
right,
really nice. And then in the next set, you also have Kyurem. Kyurem's is different. Kyurem's a little weird. It discards all the energy, but
right.
it does so much damage. And so I don't know. I feel like Altaria is okay. I know some people love this card. I'm surprised it's only in one deck, but um, I think Altaria is probably in C tier above Slowbro.
So top of C. Okay. I mean, Regidrago is going to be good. Regidrago potentially is going to be one of the top decks, right? Once the new set comes out.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think most people would say it's a top 10 deck. And in the next set, it might even be. I mean, it might even be top 5 now. Although I probably wouldn't see it's top 5. It's pretty good though. But in the
Hmm.
next set, I think it will probably it very well might be top 5. The medicine might be a little weird in the next set, but
Yeah.
I think Altaria is it's okay. But it's certainly a niche option in the deck.
Right. And I've heard it even, is it going to be, is it going to be the top deck is an idea. So you think it's what, beat C tier? You want it to be
Yeah,
B
I think
tier?
it's above. No, I don't think it's
Ab-
B tier. I think it's above
Above
Slowbro and C
Slowbro,
tier. I
I
think it's a
think.
pretty
Yeah.
niche Pokemon in Regidrago, but it's a very good deck. It's not like anywhere near as niche as the Dunsparce, and I think Regidrago is
No.
better than Lugia. I don't like Lugia, but I think it's kind of awkward at times. But yeah, what do we have next though?
Okay. So next we have Toadscruel. So
Ooh.
who I was just playing like yesterday and today, so I feel like I should be supportive of it. And I'm not so sure I'm so supportive of it. So this is the single prize Toadscruel, not the EX, because I assume that's not an uncommon. But
Yeah, no, it's not.
I was playing a Toadscruel EX deck, and this was kind of a tech. So it can attack. It does for grass, colorless mushroom drain does 80, and you heal 30 from this Pokemon. And I mean, you're probably getting knocked out. So I'm not sure that
It's
he.
it's good against Mimikyu.
That's true. That's true. You're one shotting it and you're healing yourself off. So they have to like three shot you or more. I don't know how many turns it is. So before they knock you out. But it's here for slime mold colony ability. Cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer cards. Um, so obviously the big thing I think is the energy retrieval, superior energy retrieval, or regular energy retrieval. Energies go from the discard pile into your hand. Obviously, Chin Pao Excalibur relies on that, so it was a pretty good. It would really wreck their day. There's other things too. The ability on the darkness, the darkness V Star, right? That
No, it's trainers. It stops
are
trainers.
just trainers. Oh,
Oh no,
just
sorry. Yeah, no, it's abilities to trainers. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, it stops. I think So Darker V-Star, I guess. That's not that common, but it sees play. And
No.
then Pokestop. But then the big one, because I thought you were talking about cards that would get
Get
see a lot of change in the next set. I
hmm
thought you were talking about Toad Scroll. Because of what's the card, the stretcher, Night Stretcher or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
Recovering a Pokemon or energy from a discard pile into your hand, this
that's
stops
true.
it, which is really powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is actually a B tier card.
Okay. I mean, right. When this was played initially, I assume we had Rescue Carrier in format initially, probably.
I don't know. Rescue Carrier wasn't that good. I don't think
Oh,
so.
you didn't play the decks I played.
No, I didn't.
It
I know
carried
you
my
only played
decks,
the
but that says more about my decks than me. So what was it? Let's see, Arceus, Fire Arceus, um, Charizard
Charizard.
Pidgeot, and Charizard decks. Okay, so it has to go in a fire deck for some reason. It appears to
Exactly.
be.
Because it's like weakness or something.
So,
Um,
but you need a Toad Scroll. So, and obviously these decks weren't playing the Toad Scroll EX. So, and Toad Scroll EX isn't terrible. And actually,
yeah, and it's an
it stops Dragapult from placing damage counters, right? So,
yeah, if you have energy on the Pokemon. So
right.
it's like okay. It's a solid tech option.
So you think this is what a B tier card?
Yeah, with the next set especially because you got the stopping the whatever that Night Stretcher card is.
Right,
So
which is a big deal, I think. So potentially. So I'm going to put it below Flamigo, I think.
yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think that ordering within tiers matters that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, right now Flamigo is the card that's going to see the most play in the future, I think, so far, right?
Yeah, probably.
Just because people have to try out United Wings. I'm not sure that Toad Scroll is going to see a ton of play. Competitive play, it may, and maybe it will even like. I know we're not here to talk about Worlds, but maybe that this is something that goes in these decks because of the Night Stretcher as a counter.
Yeah, I think Night Stretcher's okay. I think Dex will play like a Super Rod and a Night Stretcher, but it's solid. It counters a few things. I'm sure there's some things we're forgetting as well that are good. But Toadstool is a pretty. It's a solid counter Pokemon.
Right. And there always are some control players out there too. So just, it's an option for those type of decks as well. All right, the next card is one. This one sees play, and this may be the top of the list. I'm not sure. This is Iron Bundle. So a future Pokemon from Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift has 7 Pokemon out of this 22 or something. So it's got by far the most Pokemon.
23, right?
I think 20. I think so.
It says at the bottom. It should
Oh, all
say.
right. Yeah, all right. Let me see. Let me not close my tabs. Does it say? Yeah, 23. Okay. I have that cropped off so I can't see it. But
Yeah.
Iron Bundle, a future Pokemon largely here for the ability Hyper Blower. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's on your bench, you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. And if you do, you discard this Pokemon and all attached cards. And it says your Pokemon chooses the new active card. And because the way it's
Your
worded,
opponent.
what's that?
Your opponent.
Oh, your opponent chooses. Sorry, yeah, correct. But they didn't really need to that because it switches the they're active to the bench. With a card like Boss, you switch from the bench to the active. That's how it makes it clear that you're choosing the switcher here. You're just pushing back to the bench. Your opponent gets to choose what goes up. So it goes in a number of decks, and then some attacking potentially for watercolors. Colors does 80. And if it's an evolution Pokemon, you can't attack the next turn. So, but I'm not sure. I like counter decks, and even I haven't really considered that as an attacking option in my counter decks.
Yeah, I definitely think it's attacks. It's usable, but it's not great. But yeah, this card's pretty good. I mean, it sees play in a lot of decks. If I just look at the deck list, oh wow, this is a lot more than I thought. It sees play in Lost Zone, I think is the main one. It sees play in Tomb Have Excalibur. It sees
Mm-hmm.
play in, of course, future decks. Not all future decks, but most because it's pretty easily searchable and it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And
Raging
other
Bolt
things.
as well.
Yeah.
Miraidon.
Um,
Part of it, one of the things it wants decks, these big basic decks that are one-shotting things. They want to be efficient with what they're knocking out. So that's part of why you see Chen Pao, Raging Bolt, Miraidon is one set of
yeah, I'd say less
decks
so
that like it.
Chien-Pao, but Miraidon, Raging Bolt, and also future decks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I think you said Lost Zone, right?
Yeah, Lost Zone as well. It kind of wants to do that, but it can also not do that. But yeah, I think Iron Bundle is S tier. I mean, I feel like it's a very good card in standard. I don't think it made our top 10 cards in the game or Pokemon in the game, but it was good.
Right. So okay. So this is another question because look, Iron Bundle's a good card. I don't doubt that. but taking in so we're rating cards relative to this set of cards? Is that part of what we're doing? Because it's not Iron
Um,
Bundle's not an S tier probably
is
if I
it? It's
take
not.
into account all the cards in the game. I don't think
I
so.
think it's top it's certainly top 10% of Pokemon.
Oh
It might be top
yeah,
like
but top
1%.
but even top
That's
1%
pretty
is not S tier to me. S
you
tier.
should top wait, how many Pokemon do you want in like, I feel like if you're making it like a tier list of all the cards, you'd want it to be like a bell curve kinda. So,
Well,
um,
I like S tier to be super restrictive. So
I know you want S tier to not have any cards ever. But, no, I think it's definitely I don't know, it's somewhat I feel like it deserves S tier.
I no, I think it
It's
does.
partially yeah,
Partly for this list, it definitely does.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and it is. It's a very top. It's a top. It's a goes into a lot of top competitive lists. So, and even not competitive lists, it's a card to keep in mind because it does fix some problems, and it's nice. It sits on your bench, so you can get it out early. So it works pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have Screamtail, and this is all right. So the ancient Pokemon, it can slap for 30. Not too exciting there. But it for Psychic Colorless, Roaring Scream, you know what that does. This attack does 20 to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you need Psychic Energy on a Psychic Pokemon and damage counter. So it's going to go in Gardevoir. I can't imagine it goes in anything else. And no, it's not. It's just Gardevoir decks. And of course, Gardevoir is very good. It's wow. As I'm scrolling down the list of Gardevoir decks, it is there's well, I'm going to stop scrolling through that list because there's too many Gardevoir decks to worry that I want to worry about. So look, this is a staple card in basically every Gardevoir deck, and Gardevoir's maybe the best deck in format. Might be like at an event 10% of the decks, right? So
Yeah, I think it's to me, it's the second best deck right now. It's really good.
yeah, and this is one of the two big attackers, right? You have the Screamtail, and then you've got the one that
Drifloon.
Drifloon that does 30 just into the active, and you're kind of to me when Gardevoir to a certain extent you're kind of you're going between those attackers on a case by case basis to just work through your opponent's cards. So
Yeah, I definitely think Screamtail's like the second attacker. It's not like
yeah,
the big one-shotting their active, but I think it's A tier. I feel like it's pretty clearly A tier. Um,
okay.
it's noticeably worse than Iron Bundle, noticeably better than Flamingo and Toadscroll.
Well, I guess so. Now where I'll challenge that it's worse than Iron Bundle. You're not gonna play a Gardevoir deck without the Screamtail. I would
You
say.
could. I mean, you
Uh,
probably wouldn't, but you could.
the decks
Go
that
with- I'm gonna
use
check that.
the decks that use Iron Bundle probably could cut the Iron Bundle potentially, right, and still function. That's my thought
Yeah,
about it.
that's true, but it's in a lot more decks, and
Yeah. Oh, Iron Bundle's a
uh,
lot more versatile, right? Screamtail strictly Gardevoir, nothing else.
yeah, and it's still like pretty. I don't know. It's not like the most important card in the decks it's in, but it's important. Um,
Iron
and then
Bundle.
Screamtail's not the main attacker. Okay, I guess Screamtail is in every Gardevoir deck.
Okay. Okay, you found so you admit
Oh,
defeat.
it's
It,
1.02 copies. Um, anyways,
yes.
before Paradox Rift, it wasn't played at all. So
That's that
yeah.
is a very good point. Very good point. So, and as I said, 7 cards from Paradox Rift, and part of it's these ancient future cards, right? Because which we're now seeing as some of the top
Oh
of
wait.
these
Here, so
cards.
when in Paradox Rift, it wasn't played in every deck. It was only played in 96% of the decks. Terrible card. Terrible card. No. So I think it's A tier. I don't think it's like it's also kind of it's pretty niche in its use cases. Like, um,
It's just Gardevoir, right? And obviously, when I say just Gardevoir, it's kind of like it's just one of possibly the best decks in format, but it is strictly a Gardevoir card.
yeah, it's not like the main attacker. It's solid, but
Yeah. So next we come to a very narrow card, I think, and this is Minior. So I should tell you that first because you got to look it up. You don't know the order. So it is a fighting Pokemon. It's here, I think, to counter Snorlax, which until it rotates, we're going to have to live with it. And Pokemon's not going to stop printing cards to help make it work for whatever reason. They just think that is what everybody wants. So, but Minior 70 HP, so you can get it into play with Buddy Buddy Poffin. It's attack, gravitational tackle for 1 colorless energy, so it can you can slap it into any type of deck you want with any type of energy. Does 20 per retreat cost in your opponent's active Pokemon. and it's fighting type. So Snorlax is right. Retreat cost of 4, I believe. So that's 4. So 80. Its HP is 150. So it's weak to it. So at 160 at one shot Snorlax. But what don't you don't have to worry about Snorlax and how you get into play into the active spot because it's got the ability Far Flying Meteor. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's on your bench, when you attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, you may switch it with your active Pokemon. So unless it's like a Snorlax and they are shutting down your abilities, which I don't know that they can really do that. You just swing it in and knock them out. So very good. Or they have a tool, but worst case you're two-shotting them, and they might gust up something else. But all you have to do is attach another energy, and you send it back up and hit again. So it's there to counter Snorlax, and I think it's just there to counter Snorlax. Is that
Well, it's
correct?
also there just to counter what's it called? It also counters Iron Hands EX. If you have a super effective glasses attached, it will one shot it, which is
Okay.
pretty solid. Or it'll two shot it if not. Which two shotting isn't great. It's mostly there for Snorlax, but um, it's solid against Iron Hands EX as well. I think in like the Lost Zone decks, a lot of them are playing. Wait, when was this? Yeah, they are playing super effective glasses. Wait, did that rotate? No, it didn't rotate. No. So yeah, I think it's okay. I feel like it's a solid card.
Mm-hmm.
There like if you're playing Charizard, there is a better card in my opinion to counter Snorlax, but whatever. It's not like it's played in Charizard some, but it's more so played in like Lost Zone and then some other decks as well. But I think it's oh, where do you think it is?
So, I mean, this is probably what is this B tier?
Yeah, I guess it's B tier. I'd say it's the bottom of B tier.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it will probably see play at upcoming events, right? I would think.
I guess, but it's like so niche in its use
You ought to
cases.
move it down to C tier then.
No, I think B's fine.
So bottom of B
Yeah.
to you. Okay. So now we come to one of everybody's favorite Pokemon. Certainly one of mine, and this is Cloth with the unhinged scissors attack for double colorless. It does 30 damage, and if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it does 160 more. So Cloth Electrode was a very, very fun deck to play before rotation. You can still play it. It's not as good now, unfortunately.
I
And then
think Cloth is about as good now, though. I think
yes,
the Student Electrode V is pretty bad, but Cloth is
right,
all right.
right, because we lost hot spicy curry, whatever. If that I forget
Spicy seasoned curry, I think.
exact. Yeah, yeah. I knew I had it wrong. I always get it wrong. So. But and then there is the second attack for 2 fighting energies, does 80, and your Pokemon is now burned, so you can be setting up something next turn, but you're burning yourself, and your HP is not that high at 120. You're probably getting knocked out, but 120. You can obviously get it poisoned pretty easily, and you'll be able to get it even more easily when the next set comes out. Although I don't really think that's going to bump up Cloth
Wait,
stuff
with what?
with the oh no Pheasantipity or no the monkey or they only poison darkness once.
Yeah,
Okay, that
Pekron EX.
Pekka.
So, but you can use Binding Mochi to do extra damage, which is actually pretty good because right now you're hitting 190 with the double turbo 170, so you're bumping up. It does 40 more,
Mm,
so it's gonna be bumping it up to 210
210.
or 230, which is really nice.
Well, if you could get to 230, that's really good, right? Because that 210, you're missing most the attacking Vs and EXs, basic Vs and EXs, right? And that's not good. So getting to
Well,
two,
but if you're using Brute Bonnet, then you are poisoning them, so then it's fine.
as long as it's the 220 number, right? At 230,
Yeah.
you are missing. But yeah, no, getting to
I mean, you could just play
220.
the Stadium too, or Rating History. Well, no, they play Rating History and Sneasler. So, um, I think it's pretty solid. I mean, it's not great. I think it's like
Hmm.
honestly might be C tier.
Um, yeah. I mean, before rotation, when Electrode see when Electrode V was at full power, I would have put it higher, right? But
Yeah, probably.
without that, it's tough. So I think top of C tier then.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops. Let's see. Can I get it there? There we go. Okay. So what is next here? This is all right. Yes. So Slitherwing, another Paradox Rift Pokemon and a ancient Pokemon. So one of those Paradox Pokemon. So Slitherwing, um, not to me the best of the ancient Pokemon, but I guess goes in Ancient Box, I assume. Uh,
Ancient Box could
and
go
Raging
in
Bolt
Sandy
as
Shot.
well.
Yeah, Raging Bolt. Or as it would Sandy Shot. Yeah, you could play it with regular Raging Bolt, but it's kind of awkward. So its attack is Burning Turbulence,
Hmm.
for 2 fighting, 120. This Pokemon is 90 to itself, and then your opponent's active is burned. So it's essentially 140, except it doesn't one shot Arceus. I always think it one shots Arceus because it does 140, double the weakness is 280, but it doesn't actually do that. It does
Right.
120, double to 240 plus 20. So it's actually short, but it does one shot. Iron Hand ZX, Iron Thorn ZX, and some things. I think it's okay. And you could put it in Ancient Box, which it's okay. I think it's an okay Pokemon, but it's probably like the fourth best like tech Pokemon in Raging Bolt decks, and then it's also like
Yeah.
pretty pretty sketchy in Ancient Box. It's 3 retreat, which isn't
Right.
good, and it can mill 1 for 1 fighting, which is okay. Its HP is the standard 140 for Ancient Pokemon, and
Yeah.
it's like okay, but it's niche.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be obviously if you're worried about fighting, hitting for fighting weakness. It like in a regular single prize ancient box, let's say, but you probably don't have the fighting energy generally, right, in the deck, so therefore it makes it tougher.
Yeah,
Obviously,
you only have like a few usually.
yeah, so it makes it tough to pull off. You can do it potentially with Professor Sada's Vitality, but the 3 retreat cost is pretty rough, I think. So, you know, let me take a look at the decks it's on. What are your thoughts though? I guess for where it
Uh,
belongs.
I think it's probably the top of D tier. I feel like is pretty fair for it. It's like it's pretty like underwhelming to me, but it's not like I know some people think it's kind of good.
All right,
I
I'm
mean, I
at.
don't like ancient decks to be honest that much. I don't think I don't think Raging Bolt's a top 10 deck. And I don't think Ancient Box is, I also don't think Ancient Box is a top 10 deck. I think they're both kind of mediocre. Or maybe they're top 10. I need to like see a list of the decks, but I don't think they're particularly good decks. They're like okay, but I think it's like D tier though, top of D tier.
All right, I'm
This
at.
good doesn't see that much play anyway.
I mean, I'd put it in bottom of C, but you want to do top of D?
We could do bottom of C. That's fine.
Okay. I mean, I amongst the ancient decks, I do like Roaring Moon. I thought before rotation, I had the Roaring Moon EX. I thought was a good deck, and I think the single prize Roaring Moon right now is not bad. But we're with just darkness attackers and maybe one EX slapped in. To me, that's the ancient deck that I think I find flows the best, but doesn't necessarily make it the best. Box style decks are nice, but they have to work too, and that's where ancient box I find struggles. All
Yeah.
right. So now we have 2 Pokemon with the same name. So you want to group them together. So we'll do the Paradox Rift one first, and that is Tatsugiri. And both the solid Pokemon that I've enjoyed playing. So 70 HP. For one, water energy does water gun. I don't know that I ever used that attack on the Pokemon, but then survival strategy: search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your deck. Shuffle your deck. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So
That's for 2
for
colorless
two
as
color.
well.
Yep,
So
thank you.
double turbo.
Right, yes, which is very important. So, and obviously, partly it gets partnered with Dondozo. Let me see, is that what it was played with? No, a Snorlax stall deck because it can search for cards. So that makes sense there.
And then switch into Snorlax, which you played, right?
Yes, I did do it in Snorlax at some point, I do believe. Well, but I also did the other Tatsugiri as well in Snorlax, more so, I think. They
Did
do
you?
different things.
Okay, that's kind of weird. Anyway, so it's Tatsugiri. I think it's pretty good because I like control. But it's probably not that good. I'd say I want to put it in B tier, but I feel like that's too high. I'd say top of C.
Well, the other
Um,
use for the card, just before we give it its grade here, is it goes in what would go in the Dondozo Tatsugiri deck potentially, because you need a Tatsugiri because that's what Dondozo's damage is based on, and this Tatsugiri is useful, right? If that's all you could do, you want it in the discard, but still,
I feel like you'd want the other Tatsugiri in it, the supporter one.
maybe. You can attack though because you're playing the double turbo, but so all right,
Yeah,
so
but you don't want to waste your double turbos on. I feel like this Tatsugiri because the you only have 4 double turbos,
that's true.
so
And you don't want to retreat to the bench because you want it getting knocked out. So
yeah.
it's a funny dynamic. So
But you
we're
don't have to switch it to the bench. But
right. That's the good thing. It's an option, right? So where do you want to put it on the list? You said
I think we could go top of C
you think it's
or
top
bottom
of
of B.
C.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I think it's pretty all right. I think it's a pretty solid Pokemon, pretty underrated to me.
All right. So what do you want to do? You want to do it bottom of B or top of C? I,
Uh, let's do top of C.
okay, I think that's fair. And then there's another Tatsugiri that I think this is the one I prefer myself.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely the better one.
It so it's 70 HP. I think they're both 70 HP, right? Dragon type, so no weakness. It's got an attack for fire, water for does 50. I don't know that it's ever. This is a Pokemon that maybe has never been used for the attack in its entire life in the game. That's probably not true, but it seems like that. It's here for the attract customers' ability. Once during a turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter card you find there, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle the others back in your deck. Retreat cost a 1, so you can get Rescue Board onto it. So if your Pokemon's knocked out, you have the Rescue Board. You just send this guy into the active, get a supporter, do what you need to do, retreat and attack, which is obviously a very nice option there. So taking a look. So and this one's seen play recently, unlike some of them haven't seen much
Yeah,
recent
I mean
play.
this one is literally in the newest set, Twilight Masquerade as well.
Yeah. So was multiple decks in NAIC guard, largely Gardevoir, a little bit of Dragapult, even Miraidon. So a little bit of variety because obviously getting supporters is good for every deck in format. So
Yeah, like Claydol. No. So I think this is probably an A tier Pokemon. It's pretty good.
okay. Then the question is it go above or below Screamtail? Screamtail is better in the sense that it's a really key Pokemon and very strong deck, but this is a lot more flexible.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's also very new Tatsugiri. I think it's below
Below
Screamtail.
Screamtail. Okay.
Yeah. It might
So
surpass it. We'll see. We'll see.
okay, fair enough. And then we have a stage 2 here next in Gengar from Paldean Fates. I don't know if it was in an earlier set or not before that,
No,
but
I don't believe it was.
okay. So Nightmare, the attack, it's stage 2, 130 HP. Darkness, colorless, does 100, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep, which is it's okay. It's really here for the ability Nightgate once during your turn. At least I assume that's why people played it. I always could be wrong. You may switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So up against like a Snorlax deck, I assume if you have evolve into Gengar, Snorlax is no problem to you. You can send up whatever you want to attack every turn. So that's very nice there. So it was in just in some Pidgeot Charizard decks to I assume deal with Snorlax decks.
Yeah, it's a solid counter Snorlax, but it's a stage 2, which is workable in the deck. I mean, it's a stage 2 deck.
Right.
However, with the new set, Pekron EX is just a basic that it doesn't do the exact same thing, but it's similar enough. I think
Mm-hmm.
right now this Pokemon's okay. Snorlax, in my opinion, is the best deck in the game right now. I mean, it's just so good because it just like wins every game. But so or wins or ties. It like doesn't lose. It's insane. So Gengar is very good right now, but in the next set, it's not useless. Also, Gengar, I think it's really solid with Palafin. I think Palafin EX. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
actually a good deck. Palafin
Oh yeah.
EX has been such a mess, but
Yes. Yeah, they give
you
us the
know,
deck that the game that they can't program into the game, and they give it to everyone. So good job
yep,
there.
yep.
Um,
I think Gengar is like a top of the C tier Pokemon, maybe.
okay, I think that's fair. Kind of looking at where things are, I think that's fine. So yeah, C, yeah, probably, and it's falling off, so that hurts it some of where its standing is. Um, so yeah, okay. So Gengar there. Now we go to Bronzong, your favorite Pokemon, right? One of your old favorites. But not
Yeah,
this
yeah.
Bronzong, right?
No, not this Bronzong. This Bronzong has its attack. If it does second attack, 100 for 3, 110 HP.
Yeah.
But then you have the Bronzor, or sorry, the Bronzong. I think the Bronzong might have the same attack on a coin flip, but Evolution Jammer during your opponent's next turn, they can't evolve any of their Pokemon by playing it from their hand. Which is okay. Oh wait, no, never mind. The Bronzor is different. But yeah, so it stops evolutions. That is interesting. It's like kind of good. I mean, there are times when it's pretty insane, but there are also a lot of times when it's just super useless and kind of slow. I feel like Bronzong's like one of the weirder Pokemon in the game. I don't love the design of it, to be honest, particularly much, but I think generally Bayonet EX is better. A lot of the evolutions are stage 2s, so if you just
Hmm.
shut off Rare Candy, you'll be doing not the same thing, but something close. And also, you're actually stopping a lot more things. So I think Bronzor is, or sorry, Bronzong's like the top of D tier. No, maybe C tier as well.
I mean, it was played in one deck, one deck.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen
I'm
this
just
card, and like you could play it with like stuff. You can do Salvatore stuff, but like I don't know.
yeah. I mean, it was played in one. Yeah. I mean, it was played in a Gardevoir deck, but I obviously you don't need the Gardevoir because you're really just using the first attack, I assume. So, which is one energy. So, I mean, it could go in a control style deck. But this was just an attacking Gardevoir deck, which seems like an odd place to put it in. Um,
Yeah, I mean you just have the energy type that you need, and you have energy or Pokemon Search as well. So I feel like it's not like bad. What ace spec do we have? We do see like or no what um. Yeah, I don't see. Oh, Prime Catcher there. Yeah, so it doesn't play Hyper Aroma, but it does play, lots of like search and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a pretty underwhelming card in my opinion.
yeah. So, is it like a D tier?
Yeah, I think the top of D tier.
Okay. You always want to put them at the top, don't you?
Exactly, and you always want to put it on the bottom because you're like, oh, this card's not good.
Yeah. So
But
that
actually, it means that you think it's better because it's the bottom of the
I'm
tier,
moving it
but
up a tier, but yeah, yeah, I feel better putting it at the bottom. You feel better putting it at the top. You're making it feel good, even though you're putting it at a lower tier. So, moving on to a solid Pokemon, everybody's favorite Pokemon or least favorite Pokemon. That's Great Tusk, 140 HP basic, so nice and tanky there. It can attack for damage, and sometimes it does that. For fighting, colorless, it does 160, and if you're hitting for fighting weakness, then 320, and you can one shot some things, but it's primarily here for land collapse. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If you played an ancient supporter card from your hand during this turn, you discard three more cards that way. So you mill four, fairly solid to set up, and probably look. It's in a lot of ancient box decks, which I assume then it's like one copy of or something. No, it played. Let me just see here.
yeah, probably right. Probably just one
Yeah,
copy.
one copy. And they play and they can't. Yeah, and they just play the darkness energy. So it's an ancient box. Obviously, Great Tusk is its own thing, but not really competitively, right? It's not
Yeah,
strong enough.
it's an okay deck. I think some people like it a lot. It's definitely the best mill deck we've seen in a while. But it's not great. I
No.
think Great Tusk is like I think it's also at the top of C tier. I think it's better than all the C tier. I can see it at the bottom of B tier as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd like to put. My heart wants to put me on B tier just because it's the kind of
Yeah,
deck
that's
I
fine.
like.
We can put it bottom of B tier.
It goes with like United with Flamigo, right? That's kind of it's in that range, right? The mill deck, right? It's in that appealing factor for those type of
I guess
decks.
so. Yeah.
All right, so we did Great Tusk. So we're doing Sandy Shock. So in the ancient Pokemon here, we're in Tempo or Forces, and there's 5 cards from Tempo or Forces. So this is the second most popular set. Again, probably because we have these ancient Pokemon and such.
Wait,
So
5.
5 from Temporal Forces is what I have.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
we've done some already. We don't. I think we're okay. We have 3 more after this.
yeah, yeah.
So 120 HP, retreat cost of 2, and that's always a big deal with these ancient Pokemon. What you do for ancient boxes. Magnetic Burst is what it's here for. 1 fighting energy. It does 20 plus 70 more if you have 3 or more energies in play, which isn't bad. And because ancient, you're playing your Professor Sada's Vitality, you're getting energies accelerated. But then they decide, no, that might be too good. So we're not going to have it affected by weakness. It's still affected by resistance, but not by weakness. I don't know they why they made that decision, but that definitely
Yeah, I
makes
feel
it
like
a
it's an okay card. It's not that good. It would be like obviously better for hit weakness, but it's okay as not in like ancient box, but in like
it's
Raging Bolt
right. It's
decks.
played in Rage Your Bolt. It hasn't been played in any ancient box decks of the competitive
Yeah,
ones I
no,
looked
I mean
up.
it doesn't because then you can't really get enough energies in play. You can get like 3 energies in play. I mean you could technically get 4, but also once you have 4 energies, just attack with um like Roaring Moon or even Crydon. But I think Sandy and also those have higher HP. But Sandy Shocks is probably I think it's the second best tech attacker in Raging Bull. I think Cornerstone Mask or Pionex is better, but they're pretty different. Sandy Shocks is relatively easy to attack with.
Hmm.
You don't need to Sawdust, and you can just like toss in as a single prize attacker to disrupt your opponent's prize trade.
Right.
The deck's played a lot. Raging Bull Ogre Pond. I think Sandy Shocks is okay. I'm tempted to put it in C tier again, but it's probably a B tier Pokemon.
I think so. It's also there for Mimikyu, right? Because otherwise the deck loses to Mimikyu.
Yeah, I feel like most of the tech Pokemon are Mimikyu techs. Yeah, there are like 4 Mimikyu techs. Mew EX, which is it does different things.
Hmm.
Corso Master Groupon EX. You have Syntrax, and you have what's the one we talked about earlier? The
Um,
I don't know, Slitherwing. There we go.
okay. Yeah. So depending on what deck, what it needs. So I'm putting it bottom at B tier with that guy.
Yeah,
So that was
I
Sandy
think it's better than Great Tusk actually. I think I'd put it in the middle of B tier.
above Minior or no?
Yeah,
Below
yeah,
Toad
above
School,
Minion.
you think it's better than Toad School?
I think it's worth in Toadstool. I think Toadstool with the new with Night Stretcher. I think
Okay,
it's
we'll start to see some
pretty strong.
play. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so next we come to a future Pokemon. We have Iron Treads. So 130 HP, retreat cost of 2, but of course, if you get the tool attached, you don't have to worry about that. And it's a weird Pokemon. Wheel Pass for Metal Colorless does 60 damage. You move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, like Iron Thorns, except Iron Thorns is better, I would say. But anyway, it's got the ability Dual Core, which I guess is why
Iron
it's
Thorns EX,
yeah,
not
Iron Thorns.
Iron
Yeah,
Thorns.
correct. Sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
Single Fire Iron Thorns is probably worse.
Yeah, and that's probably true. So dual core ability, as long as this Pokemon has a future booster energy capsule attached, it is both fighting and metal. So you can hit for fighting weakness. It does 60, and of course it boosts the damage with the tool, so it goes from 60 to 80. So that's at 160, and you can boost it with Iron Crowns as well. So obviously, it's nice having some weakness coverage for a future box. I assume, yeah, it was a future box or an Iron Hands future hands deck is what was played in.
Yeah, so I feel like Iron Treads is like it's okay. I think this one also made an appearance in the worst cards, but it's probably the best Iron Treads. The EXs, there's 2 EXs, and they're both like super bad. But
Yeah,
this Iron Treads is okay. I think dual typing is really fun, but it's not like that good. Preserving energy is nice, but it's weird. You have to introduce another energy type, which is awkward. I feel like Iron Treads is like
I mean,
I think it's bad.
I mean it's a D. I think it's like D tier, and I like future box decks. I played
Yeah, I think it's
some
the top of no,
top of
actually I
D
think middle
or
middle of
less
D tier.
above Lunatone Soul Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me. And then we're getting towards the end, so we got a one. This is a very strong Pokemon for one deck, and this is Chinchino, right?
F
Evolves
tier. No.
F for fantastic.
Exactly.
Because it does gentle slap, does 30 for one energy. So wait, no, that's
Classic.
it's special roll, does 70 per each special energy card attached to this Pokemon. So double turbo actually does 50 because it's only one card, and of course it reduces 20. So double turbo is actually bad for this. It's not by each energy, but energy card. But you can get 4 energy cards attached with Archeops. It's in Lugia, right? It's in Lugia, and I think only Lugia. I'll take just Lugia Archeops. But there's a lot of Lugia, and this is kind of this is the main attacker in Lugia decks now, right? You attack with Lugia V Star, some Iron Hands or something like Iron Hands, or even Lumineon V with the Legacy Energy, and then Chinchino for a single prize that does big damage. So
Yeah, there was Snorlax before. But this is better than Snorlax. So I think Chinchino it's an A tier.
yeah,
I don't know exactly where it's going. I think it's probably um
I like it less than Screamtail myself,
yeah,
but
I like it less than Screamtail. I
I'll
might actually like it less than yeah, no, I guess it's better than Tatsugiri.
the thing is though, you already made the case Screamtail's not the top attacker in Gardevoir. Chinchino may be the top attacker in Lugia. And it's
Yeah,
also
no, I think it is, but I don't think it's yeah, I guess we could put it above Screamtail. That's fine.
so look, I don't think I'm not a huge fan of Lugia. I don't think you are either, just because does it set up? When it sets up, it's just tremendous, but then you have a lot of times it just doesn't set up, is what I'll say. And I think you kind of have the same opinion of it.
Yeah, I mean, like you if you get the turn 2 Chinchino, you can like one shine everything, then you essentially just kind of win. But
Yeah.
that doesn't happen probably most of the time. Usually, it's like a turn 3 Chinchino is kind of what you're looking at, which is still okay. But you might miss that, or things could go wrong. There are issues. So I think Chinchino is like good though. And then lastly, we have
Yes.
Morpeko with an attack, pick and stick. which for one lightning attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon any way you like. That's something. It's not
Y-
great, but it's an okay
Yeah,
attack,
it's
I
not the
guess.
worst attack in the game.
No. And then we have Snack Seek as the ability. Once during your turn, you can look at the top card of your deck. You can discard it. Theoretically, some synergy with the new stadium that lets you put a card from your hand on top of your deck, and you can just discard it. But that's kind of niche. I feel like Morpeko is not very good, but I know you like this card.
Well, I like it's an interesting card, right? Honestly, it's played for the ability, I assume, although I don't. It was only played in one deck, in a Miraidon deck, and this is Miraidon, just a Lightning Miraidon deck. So, Miraidon Iron Hands with Zapdos. So, it's gonna pick up, I guess, with the new attack. Is this an option for the new with the attacker that copies from the although that's not in the next set anyway, right? That's the set after,
It
right?
was no, it copies from the top of your deck.
The
Oh, so
top.
you look at it. Is that what you're saying?
So
You look to
yeah,
see
I
if
guess so. It
it's
doesn't
there.
help it, does it really?
It
You
doesn't
just
help that. I mean, you
peek
could
at
do a
it.
bunch more Picos and then, like, cycle through till you find an attacker or something. That seems, like, kinda sketchy, though.
Yeah, I think you need a better plan than that. I mean, looking at top, there are obviously decks that like to discard, right? That's the question, and it potentially, but you usually want to control what you're discarding, and that's a hard thing, right? Like with the older Rangaroo that let you switch a card from hand with the top of your deck, like comboing of that could be good, but honestly, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's, D tier. I think it's the bottom of the D tier.
okay, yeah, I think it's interesting enough to me. I don't want it in F tier, but I think bottom of D tier is yeah. I mean, I wonder if it goes on the top of F tier even.
We could do that. No, I don't think it's D. I think it's D tier. It's
Okay,
okay. It has value. It really has value every single turn. And knowing your top deck can be useful as well.
yeah.
I feel like it's a high skill ceiling card, but also like it's not like that good anyway. But it's okay.
All right, so there we have it. We have our 23 cards, definitive tier list of competitive, uncommon final evolutions that aren't strictly reliant on Zoroark, right?
Yeah, that aren't and doesn't include Metagross or the one Screamtail. But yeah, that was the tier list. I think uncommon Pokemon are obviously they're not as good as rare Pokemon just generally, but they are still interesting. And yeah, no, I think they're kind of cool. Often they're bad, but they're all interesting to some level. But I think that's all for today's episode. But we hope you enjoyed, and we're excited to see you in the next one. Also, check out our channels: youtube.com/@10types, youtube.com/@uncommonfossil. You can check us out on YouTube or podcast platforms. But we hope you enjoyed, and we're excited to see you in the next episode.
All right, take care.